Hey, good morning, class. My name is Sergeant Barnwell. I'll be your primary instructor for today's class. Today I'm going to be teaching you how to determine the grid coordinates of a point on a military map. Real quick before we dive in, risk assessment for today's class is low. While we're indoors at the range, please make sure you police up your trash inside and outside to keep the wildlife away. However, if you do come across wildlife, please let myself know or another instructor know. We'll make sure to take care of it properly. Prior to leaving the class, make sure you're in a proper cold weather uniform. While we're in Fort Drum, New York, during the wintertime, it's a little cold outside. However, while you're indoors, please maintain a safe 6-foot social distance and ensure your mask is worn properly over your nose and mouth. I won't be wearing my mask today just so you guys can hear me clearly during this block of instruction. All right, we're gonna knock out PCCs, PCIs real quick before we get started. Make sure you guys have everything you need to make sure this class goes smooth, right? All you need is your kit, your ACH, iPro, and gloves. I'm gonna go ahead and check that real quick. ACH, kit, sweet, good. Good. Okay, sweet deal, good to go. Okay, jumping into the class, we're gonna run through the task condition standards. Reiterated again, the task is to determine the grid coordinates of the point on a military map using task number 071-COM-1002. The conditions for today. You are a member of a squatter team in a field environment and have been directed to identify the grid coordinates of a point on a map. You have a 1/50,000 scale military map, a coordinate scale and protractor or plotting scale, a pencil and paper. I have all that for you here. I'm going to toss it out whenever we finish this up. You have been shown the point on a map. Some iterations of this task should be performed in Mach 4. Clearly, we're not going to be in Mach 4 today. It's going to be in our basic combat gear. Standards. Determine the 6-digit grid coordinates of the point identified on the map by finding the coordinates of the grid square where the point is located in the 4-digit grid coordinates of the point. With or without a coordinate scale and protractor or plotting scale, include the 100,000 meter square identifier with the grid coordinate. All right, so keeping all this in mind, we have 4 easy performance steps to knock all this out. First step is to determine the coordinates of the grid square. Second step is to determine point grid coordinates without a coordinate scale and protractor or plotting scale. Third step is to determine point grid coordinates with a GTA 05-02-012 coordinate scale and protractor or plotting scale. And the fourth and final step is to add the 2-letter 100,000 meter square identifier to the end of your grid. Now, if you watch me really quick, I'm going to show you what that looks like to standard. Okay, so as you guys can see, that was a pretty easy task, right? Going back through the performance steps, we're going to determine the coordinates of the grid square. So using the same point that I just referenced and the point that you guys have referenced on your papers, we're looking at OP23 Bravo. Right here, I just have it blown up a little bit. So to get the 4-digit square, you're always reading right and up on the map. So as you can see, we have 59 to 60. So reading right, we know that 59 entails this entire grid. So the first 2 points are going to be 59. Following that, we're reading up, as I had said. We have 90 to 91, which also shows that 90 has this entire grid. So your 4-digit grid is going to be 5990. Now, determining a 6-digit grid without a protractor is also pretty easy. You can break this grid down into a 10 by 10, find a common point at the 5 in the middle, so you'll know what the 3rd digit should be. Reading right and up again, 59 again. You have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, which is the 5th point. So you'll know your 3rd number is going to be 595. And then reading up, we're going to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, which is your 6th point. So you're going to have 595, 905. Now reading this with a protractor, for your 6-digit grid, you're going to look in the top left of your map, as stated before in the conditions. We're going to have a 1/50,000th map. If you look on your protractor, you have 3 different scales. Ensure you're using the top left scale, which matches the 1/50,000th scale. While you have a protractor on a map, always start in the southwest corner of the map. At the 00 point in the bottom right of your scale, put that in the southwest corner of your grid. Moving horizontally until you come across your point, you're going to read your right number. So my horizontal line is on the point, so I'm going to read right first, which is a 5, which gives me 595. Reading up after that, you're going to count up the horizontal line until you get to the point, which is a 5 again, which gives you 905, for your 6-digit grid of 595905. Touching back on your 4th performance step, if you add the 2-letter 100,000 meter square identifier by the end of your grid, you're going to come down to the bottom middle portion of your map. If you look in this rectangle, 2nd block and 3rd block, you have your grid zone designation and the grid zone identifier. We're going to be using 18 Tango Victor Papa. So we'll have 18 Tango Victor Papa 595905. At this point, do I have any questions? Nope, all good? Okay, sweet. I'm gonna hand you out all your stuff you're gonna need for this practice. However, if you have any questions during this time, let me know. I'm gonna be walking around, make sure you're doing it properly, because we will be grading this after your practice exam. Touching back on the performance steps, just to make sure you don't forget anything during this practice, we're gonna determine the coordinates of the grid square, determine point grid coordinates without a coordinate scale and protractor or plotting scale. 3rd step, determine point grid coordinates with GTA 05-02-012 coordinate scale and protractor or plotting scale. And the 4th step, just make sure you add that 2-letter 100,000 meter square identifier by the end of your grid. Everybody good to go? Okay, sweet, you have 5 minutes. Time starts now. That looks good. That looks good. Sweet deal. Okay, your 5 minutes is up. Everybody seems to have a really good gist of this. I'm sure you've probably done it before. If you haven't, your work is still good. So real quick, we're gonna go ahead and take the exam. I'm gonna give you 5 minutes and you will be graded by a 5164-Romeo. I'm gonna let the higher ups know if you need to train again or if you pass this. So if you have any questions prior to the exam, please let me know and I'll make sure to answer them to the best of my ability so everybody can pass this, right? Okay, you have 10 minutes for your exam. Time starts now. Okay, time's up. From what I've seen so far on my 5164-Romeo, everybody is trained at this time. Real quick, let me go ahead and get everybody's materials back. Just the paper, pencil, and map, and the protractor as well. Thank you. Okay, real quick, I just need an AAR. I need what was supposed to happen, what did happen, 3 sustains and 3 improvements. So what we were supposed to do is to determine the coordinates of a grid square, determine point grid coordinates without a coordinate scale and protractor or plotting scale, determine point grid coordinates with a coordinate scale and protractor or plotting scale, and add the 2-letter 100,000 meter square identifier by the end of the grid. That was supposed to happen. What did happen is that we determined the coordinate grids using a protractor, without using a protractor, and also adding the 100,000 meter square identifier at the end. Now I just need 3 sustains and 3 improvements. Okay, sweet deal. Now that class is almost over, I'm going to go through the risk assessment again before you step out, just so you know what's out there. Again, police the trash inside. Make sure you don't attract wildlife. If you do see wildlife as you leave the classroom, please let me know. We'll take care of it properly. Again, it's cold outside. Make sure you're in cold weather gear. And also maintain a safe 6-foot social distance while you're outside, just to stay away from the Rona. All right, everybody make sure you police up all your personal gear. Make sure all my stuff is back on the table. You guys are good to go. Hey Sergeant, we recorded everybody on the 5164-Romeo. All 3 of my students were trained at this time. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and close out the site. Thank you.